Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Our lesson for today is about major phases of research process, focusing on the review of related literature, and we will also talk about the frameworks. We have to differentiate the difference between conceptual and theoretical framework. Okay, our objectives are reviewing the related literature. Okay, purpose of literature review, categories of reference, locating relevant literature for research review, and lastly, defining the frameworks and developing conceptual and theoretical frameworks. Okay, let's define first what is related literature. Okay, this is composed of discussions of facts and principles to which the present study is related. So it is composed of discussions of facts, meaning it is gathered with reliability and truthfulness of the sources, wherein it has something related with your present study. Okay, for instance, if the present study deals with drug addiction, okay, literature to be reviewed or surveyed should be composed of materials that deal with drug addiction. Okay, for you to able to compare and to get an idea regarding your research study. Okay? So, hindi pwede na ibang topic ang inyong i-gather because it has no bearing to your research study. Okay, these materials are usually printed and found in books, encyclopedia, professional journals, magazines, newspapers, and other publications. Okay, so anything information that can be found in books, encyclopedias, or journals, okay, magazines can be newspapers, publications. Okay, it can be classified as local or foreign. Okay, local if it is printed in the Philippines, and foreign if it is printed in the other land. Okay, that's why your related literature has its sub component. Okay, local related literature and foreign related literature. Okay, related studies naman, studies, inquiries, or investigations already conducted to which the present proposed study is relate or has something bearing or similarity. Just like your literature, okay, they are usually unpublished materials like your manuscripts, theses, and dissertations. So, kung makakapunta kayo sa library, there are bunch of theses or dissertations out there, so they are considered as related studies. Okay, so they are also classified as local and foreign, just like your related literature. Okay, so local if the inquiry was conducted in the Philippines, and foreign if it is conducted on the foreign lands. Okay, what are the importance or purposes and functions of related literature and study? Okay, it serves as a survey of or review of related literature and studies. Okay, is important because such reviewed literature and studies serve as foundation of the proposed study. Okay, so just like um, a building, okay, for you to able to have a good building when it comes to its strength, okay, you have to have your stable foundation. Okay, just like your thesis. Okay, when you are creating your thesis, you have to gather some informations relevant to your topic. Okay, these are your literatures which supports um, and of course build information with your current research study. Okay, this is because related literature and studies guide the researcher in pursuing his research venture. Okay, number one, they help or guide the researcher in searching for or selecting a better research problem or topic. 'Di ba? Sinabi ko sa inyo before that you have to read some literatures with the topic, okay, for you to able to understand, okay, what is all about that certain topic, okay. By reviewing the related materials, a replication of a similar problem may be found better than the problem already chosen. Okay, so replication is the study of research problem already conducted but in another place. Okay, so it is not bad for you to conduct a replication study. Okay, but okay, you have to change the location because there might be a systematic bias if you are um, conducting that kind of study on the same place, on the same respondent. Okay, so the data that you will be gathered is not reliable. Okay. Okay, number one, they help the investigator understand um, his topic for research better. Okay, syempre, um, kaya nga you are gathering some information for you to understand your topic. Okay, reviewing related literature and studies may clarify vague points about this problem. Okay, they ensure that there will be no duplication of other studies. Okay, para hindi siya ulit yung kind of studies na yun. Okay, there's duplication if an investigation already made is conducted again in the same locale using practically the same respondent. This is avoided if a survey of related literature and studies be made first. Okay. Number four, they help and guide the researcher in locating more sources of related information. This is because the bibliography of the study already conducted indicate references about similar studies. Okay, 'di ba? Part of the thesis is the bibliography. Okay? So, if you have to browse a certain thesis or a dissertation, um, you will see those those references in the bibliography wherein you can able to search it, okay. S- um, uh, Input the links to the computer so that you may able to read the articles, okay. So that can be a big help or a huge help for you to understand what is all about your title or your study. Okay? They help and guide the researcher in making his research design, especially. Okay, so you are going also to see how it how the study is being conducted. Okay, so you will see the design, the research design, like for example, the formulation of the specific questions, okay, the formulation of assumption and hypothesis if there should be any, the formulation of the conceptual framework, okay, the selection and application of the methods of research, okay, paano niya ba ito kinandak, okay, the selection and application of sampling technique. So, ano ba yung sampling technique na kanyang inavail? The selection and or preparation and validation of the research instrument for gathering data, the selection and application of statistical procedure. Okay, is this statistics is applicable for my research or conducted research? Okay, the analysis, organization, presentation, interpretation of the data, ayan, and the making of the summary of implications of the whole study. Okay, then lastly, you are going to know or to identify the formulation of this summary of the findings, conclusions, and of course the recommendations. Okay, all in all, in general, okay, so kung paano nila kinandak yung buong study na yon is, of course, you will have an idea about it. Okay, number six, they help and guide the researcher in making comparison between his findings or other researches on similar studies in the and in view of formulating generalization or principles which are the contributions of the study to be to find of knowledge. Okay, that's why at the end of your chapter 2, which is the related literature and study, you have to formulate your synthesis. Okay, your synthesis is tantamount to your generalizations. Okay, how it is related, those related literatures and studies, the relationship with your current study. Okay, you have to give a generalization or a summarize principle or concepts, okay, in relation to your conducted study. Okay, and characteristics of related literature and studies. Okay, there are certain characteristics of related materials that make them of true value. Among these characteristics are the surveyed materials must be as recent as possible. Okay, so to make it more um, updated, kasi 'di ba alam niyo naman that we have changing informations, changing technologies. Okay, this is important because the rapid social, economic, scientific, and technological change. Okay, finding several years ago may be a little value today because of the fast changing lifestyle of the people. Okay, there are exemptions, however. Okay, treatises that deals on universals or things of more or less permanent nature may still be good today. Okay, there are mathematical laws and formulas and statistical procedures that have been formulated in a long time ago, which are being used today with very little improvement. Okay, like for example, the different mathematical equations. Okay, so it has been um, derived or it has been formulated way back 100 years ago, but is still be useful in the present time. Okay, this is also true with natural and physical law. Books on this, true written a long time ago, are still being cited today. Okay, another assumption, if you are comparing or having a contrast with between the condition of today and those of the remote past, okay, say 10 years or 20 years ago, naturally literature and studies about that remote past has to be surveyed and reviewed. Okay, like for example, you wanted to know the diet practices of people 20 years ago, and you have to compare it the diet practices today. So you have to gather information about the past practices or diet practices of the people 20 years ago. Okay, materials reviewed must be objective and unbiased. Okay, some materials are extremely or sadly one-sided, um, either political or religious. Okay, comparison with these materials cannot be made logically and validly. Distorted generalizations may result. So, whatever be yung inyong makuhang data with that study, okay, it should be put into objective data, okay? Para hindi siya maging bias. Okay, you should have not put any suggestions or any comment about that kind of article. Okay? So materials surveyed must be relevant to the study. Of course, okay. Kailangan may significance siya sa conducted study na um, gagawin ninyo. Okay? Only materials that have some bearings or similarity to the research problem at hand should be reviewed. Okay? Surveyed material must have been based upon genuinely original and true facts or data to make them valid and reliable. Okay? These are cases where fictitious data are supplied just to complete a research report. Okay? Like for example, i-change nyo yung um, sources, the year, okay? Para lang makomplete nyo um, yung inyong related literatures or related studies, or maglagay kayo ng mga data which is not true. Okay? Of course, this kind of deception is hard to detect and to prove, thus this is a real problem to honest researchers. Okay? Reviewed materials must not be few or too many. Okay? There is a number, okay, enough number for your related literature and studies um, to be put on your thesis. Okay? So they may also depend upon the availability of related materials. Sometimes there is a paucity of such materials, ordinarily from 10 to 15 related materials needed for a master's thesis, and from 15 to 25 for a doctoral dissertation, depending their availability as well as their depth and length of discussion. Okay, for the master's thesis, we have 15 to 25. 10 to 15. Okay, for the doctorate dissertation, you have 15 to 25. How about for the undergrad thesis? Okay, from 5 to 10 may do. Okay, the numbers, however, are only suggestive and not imperative nor mandatory. Okay, these are only the average number observed from the thesis and dissertations. Okay, so your the rated literature is 10 to, 5 to 10. Okay, sources, of course. Number one source is the book, encyclopedia, almanacs, and other similar reference. We have also the articles published in professional journals like your Philippine Nurses Association, okay, some magazines, periodicals, newspapers, and other publications, manuscripts, monographs, memoirs, speeches, letters, and diaries, unpublished theses and dissertations, okay, the constitutions, the laws, and the statutes of the land, bulletins, circulars, and other emanating from the government offices and departments, records from school, public and private, especially reports of their activities, okay, reports from seminars, educational or otherwise, official report of all kinds, which are educational, social, economic, scientific, technological, political, okay, from the government and other entities. Okay, generally the sources of related literature and studies are located in the following places. Okay, of course, in the library, either government, school, or private libraries. Okay, government and private offices, the National Library, and the Library of the Department of Education. Okay, the last two are especially rich depositories of related materials, particularly unpublished master's thesis and doctoral dissertations. Okay, easy steps in writing related literature and studies. Okay, number one, the researcher should always be guided by the topic under investigation. Of course, you have to choose your topic, okay, or your title. So, dapat alam nyo na kung ano yung reference materials na inyong hahanapin. Like for example, you're dealing with the pregnancy. Okay, syempre, yung topic na inyong hahanapin is all about pregnancy. Okay? Write down in an index card the titles of the research materials. Okay? Use one index card for every topic research. Always write in the card the sources of information. Label the card with related literature or related studies. Okay, sa index card na yon, i-reflect nyo related literature or related studies ba siya. And of course, you have to know the title of the book, the author of the book, kailan siya na-publish, okay, and saan siya na-publish. Okay? Then, the index card should be arranged by topic. Okay, group together the similar topics or related studies. Okay, write a summative description of the research literature and studies undertaking. Okay, not all, hindi kailangan na kopyahin nyo lahat what is written on on that article. Okay? Dapat i-summarize nyo siya. Okay? Compare the related studies reviewed with the current study. So, ano ba yung significance niya sa current study na ikakandak ninyo? Okay, then separate the card for related literatures and related studies. Okay, general guidelines in citing related literature and studies, as we have discussed. Okay, materials must be as recent as possible, must be objective and unbiased, must be relevant to the study, and lastly, must not be too few or not too many. Okay, so that ends our discussion with the related literatures and studies. Okay, let's move to theories, models, and frameworks. Okay, let's define the difference between the three. Okay, theory refers to the abstract generalization that offers a systematic explanation about how phenomena are interrelated. Okay, so can you give some theory that is related to nursing? Like, for example, the Florence Nightingale, the environmental theory. Okay, on her theory, she believes that the environment has a bigger role in the recovery of the patient. Like, for example, you have to consider of the clean water, okay, the clean surroundings, of course, the um, nutritional value of the food that a patient is taking, okay, the air, of course, or the ventilation, okay. With all those concepts, she conceptualized, okay, and created a theory out of it, because she observed, she conducted series of investigations, and she has to um to offer a theory which is very relevant to the nursing practice today. Okay, so model, often used in interconnection with symbolic representation of a conceptualization. Okay, so these are the illustrations. Okay, sometimes it can be on the statistical, or it can be on the para siyang mga may mga arrow-arrow. Okay, so frameworks naman is the overall conceptual underpinning of the study. Okay, so it can be theoretical framework, it can be conceptual framework. Okay, when we say framework, this is um, the overall, okay, the overall concept that you wanted to establish on your study. Okay, the semantic model sample, ito yung sinasabi natin ng mga, like, for example, input, output, ay input, process, and output model or scheme. Okay, so example siya ng schematic model. Or pwede rin naman yung what do you call this? The variables, the two variables. Okay, pwede rin naman yon. Okay, statistical model samples. Okay, this is the example of this statistical model. Okay, the relationship between the two, like for example, the mouse size and the mouse weight. So as it is increasing the size, the mouse weight is also increasing. Okay, frameworks, there are two types, the conceptual frameworks and the theoretical frameworks. Okay, conceptual framework, study that is roots in a specified conceptual model, while on the theory, okay, it is based on a theory. Okay, the difference between the two, a theoretical framework provides a broad explanation of the relationship that exists between concepts. Okay, a conceptual framework is not as well developed as is a theoretical framework. Okay, since theoretical framework is conducted through series of investigations, okay, there is no doubt about it. Okay, the the concept or the theory has been established, or the idea has been already established. Okay, so if we are going to compare it with the conceptual framework, okay, sometimes or most of the time the concept is not well developed. Okay, a theoretical framework is based on one theory. Okay, when no existing theory fits the concepts that the researcher wishes to study, the researcher may construct a conceptual framework. Okay, if there's no specific theory that you are basing, okay, so you may able to create your own conceptual framework. Okay, the concepts of the study relate back to the theory, of course, theoretical framework, so dapat nakabase siya sa isang theory. Okay, can be used to describe and begin to explain the relationship of the concepts. Okay, theoretical framework start out as a conceptual framework and with much research develop into a research-based theoretical framework. Okay, same with the studies before. Ano, syempre it is so started lang siya sa conceptual all concept, then after that there are series of um, study about it hanggang sa naging na-create na siya as theoretical framework or as a theory. Okay, five steps process in developing conceptual definition. Okay, you have to develop preliminary definition. Okay, basing on the books, basing on the journals, basing on the okay related literatures. Yan. Okay, then after that you have to review the relevant literature for you to compare it. Okay, develop or identify exemplary cases, okay, related to your study, then mapping the meaning of the concept. Then after that you have to state the develop conceptual definition. Okay, purpose of theories and conceptual models. Okay, makes research finding more meaningful and generalizable. Okay, help to stimulate research and the extension of knowledge by providing both directional and impetus. Okay, the theories or the conceptual models or the frameworks helps you, of course, to provide direction of the conducted study. Okay, so kung paano siya magsisimula hanggang sa mag-e-end. Okay, dun nakabase lahat. Okay, conceptual models used in the nursing research. Okay, we have the Royce adaptation model, the Orem's self-care model, we have the health promotion model, we have the uncertainty in illness theory. Okay, other models used by by the researchers, we have the health belief model, Lazarus and Folkman's theory of stress and coping, the Bandura social cognitive theories. Okay, these are the models where you can use on your study if it is related. Okay. Okay, that ends our discussion. Thank you for listening.